Hi, seventh graders. Today I'm going to give you our mini lesson, and the topic that we're talking about today is sensory imagery. Sensory imagery has to do with when we use our senses, our five senses, in our writing, and how, when good writers do that, the readers are really able to get a clear understanding of what they're talking about. Here's some examples. Drops of sweat peeked through his shirt as we walked down the quaint, uneven gray brick street. Such a better way to say instead of just saying he walked down the street. Second example, our shirts began to stick like wet paper to our backs. So much more description, so much solid word choice as opposed to he was hot. Okay? Final example. Kids' laughter filled the air as they dodged in and out of the magical water fountain that oozed a fresh chlorine aroma. As I read that, you can almost picture in your head what that looks like, what it smells like, even almost what it tastes like. Many of us have probably swallowed pool water, so we have that image in our head. When you write this way, you force your readers to paint that picture. Really strong writers do this very well. There are five senses. You know what they are. You probably learned them in kindergarten. So when we are asking you to write using sensory imagery, we are asking you to use all five senses to describe what you're setting up. What is the situation that you're talking about? What do we hear in that situation? How does your character feel? What does it smell like? If they're eating things, how do you describe what it tastes? Instead of saying, he ate bread, he ate a moldy crust of stale that was on the floor that even the mice wouldn't. Examples to add elaboration and detail. This is also where you're going to be using your figurative language, your similes and your metaphors and your onomatopoeias. Crack went the door as the guard walked into the jail cell. All of these are really good examples. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do today is your writing assessment on a paragraph where you are going to be answering the question using sensory details and figurative language from the poacher's point of view. Let's go into our Canvas account and let's find this assignment. This is going to be Friday, September 4th. It is going to be your focusing question task number 1. So as I click on that, I'm going to open it. Here are my directions. Oh, it's already telling me that there's a link. It's saying complete assessment in the attached Google Drive. So obviously, you know, as we've been doing all week, when there's a blue link, you got to click it on and open in a different window. But before you do that, I want you to think about and pay attention to these 3 points. This is going to be telling us what I am looking for in strong writing. So these are the ELOs. These are what's going to go on your report card. If you can demonstrate it for me consistently, you're going to do really well on this. So I can analyze a change in one story element, how it shapes another. Okay, what that basically means is how does the plot or whatever you're having done, how does that change who the character is and show us an understanding of what's happening to that character. The second one is I can write narratives that use effective techniques, descriptive details, and event sequences. This is what we're practicing. So you're going to write me a story from the point of view of you as the poacher. You're going to tell me a story about what you're feeling, and you're going to add description and detail, and you're going to put it in a logical order that I can understand. The third one is I can write in a style that's appropriate for a particular task, purpose, or audience. Yep, you're going to write well. You're going to use capital letters, correct spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and you'll do a great job with that. As I jump into the top, I'm going to click on that link, and it's going to go to everything that we've done this week. It's going to force you to make a copy. I'm going to click on Make a Copy, and here we go with the assessment. Now notice, anything that's in red, there's a reason we put it in red. We want you to pay attention to it. It's important. If you start typing and you're not paying attention and you haven't read the directions, chances are you're probably not going to do very well on this. So slow yourself down, read carefully and slowly so you understand what we're asking you to do. The directions. You wrote from the poacher's point of view on the day he stole the fish. Yep, 2 days ago I asked you to do that in your journal. Today you're going to type it up for me, a different example from the poacher's point of view. You're writing a diary entry. What does that look like? You read a whole story that was a diary entry. What did it look like? From the poacher's point of view, so I know I'm back as being the poacher again, as he sits in the jail cell awaiting trial, reflecting on his life. So he's been arrested, he's been thrown in jail. What does he see? What does he feel? What is he thinking? What's he eating? all those questions using your senses. In your writing, you should tell me what he thinks about his place in the social hierarchy. You got to tell me, what is his life like? And you need to tell me, how has society shaped who he is? The fact that he was born poor and had to become a poacher has affected his identity. You need to tell me about that in your writing. Your paragraph can only be one or a few paragraphs long. I want it to be less than a page. If you're writing me a 6-page essay, I don't want that. I just want a paragraph. One paragraph will work if it's detailed and you have solid answers and elaborations and you've done the job. A couple paragraphs at most. Again, here's our 3 points that are important that you need to check and make sure before you click submit that you've done those things. Here also is criteria for success. This is what you need to pay attention to. And again, a checklist that you look at and say, yes, I have done that. If you can't say you've done this, you are not going to do well on your essay. This is basically telling you, I need you to put this in your writing. So you have to establish that you are the poacher's point of view and that who you are as a person. What's your character like? What do I know? You need to identify what your place is in the social hierarchy. Who are you? And how do you fit in that triangle that we've talked about? You need to describe how the poacher's place in society shaped his identity. Why the way he's born affects why he's in prison now. Yeah, it does. You need to talk about that. And then you need to use sensory details to describe exactly what we're saying. What he sees, what he feels, what he smells, and what he tastes while he's waiting to find out when or if he's going to die or how he's going to die once that judge makes his verdict. Okay? So, sensory imagery. You are painting the picture for me. You are adding descriptive details, adjectives to describe what's going on and what you're experiencing. If you do a good job on this, you will ace this assessment. So 1 to 2 paragraphs on that. Read it, make sure there's no mistakes on it, and then follow the directions to submit this on Canvas. Good luck.